So, good morning, everyone, and hello. My name is Diana, and I work for First Life. And this is today my first video interview. And as all of you can imagine, I'm quite nervous, and my attitude is I don't want to do a mistake. And I guess that's the middle of today's topic. So, our topic today is people pleasing, when we want to please everyone, when we want to be flawless without mistakes. And additionally, I guess many of us know this feeling. We say yes, even though we mean no. We smile, even though we feel exhausted, sad, or discouraged inside. We give all to be liked, and often we lose ourselves in the process. This behavior has a name. As I already mentioned, it's people pleasing. And for this interview, I invited.
So I'm Sandra. On Instagram, I'm Sandra.Petrovna, and I am educating other people in the field of personal development. So I've been working in adult education for a longer time, and around 2 months ago, I started to post on Instagram because I thought we already have enough stuff, we already have enough products, but we don't have enough education on certain topics. There's stuff people just really don't speak about. So I thought I'd take the leap. And yeah, it's been a journey since, but it's been amazing.
Thank you, Sandra. That's really, really brave. And you are also a mentor, right?
hmm hmm So
Great.
I'm mentoring people in
Mhm.
this field, so like personal education.
Awesome. That's great. And you're also an expert for people pleasing because, yeah, first of all, you're really brave that we can talk today about it. And you're someone who has gone through this process. And I'm really glad that in a very open, honest, and empowering way, today you will share what it means to people please, to have feelings like self-doubt, the desire for recognition, acceptance. And you will also portray us the way in this interview how you found yourself. And yeah, I'm really curious. And let us just start with the first question. So, what does people pleasing mean to you? And when did you first notice that this behavior affected you?
Okay, so people pleasing now, it's the core of my teachings. It is when you do things for other people constantly, consistently, whilst abandoning yourself. So for me, it's always got the element of self-abandonment. Because if you just want to be kind, because you truly want to be kind, and it's coming from your heart, it's not people pleasing. People pleasing is when you feel like the need to please others, even though it doesn't really align with you. And I think we live in a society that really promotes that because we from when we are kids, we are told to adapt. Don't behave this way, don't do this, don't that. Why are you always like this? Be quiet, be polite.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas that's not really negative in itself. It does have an impact. I, for myself, for a long time, didn't really realize it was a problem. Like it was just normal. It's just normal that you say yes and go to the party even though you don't feel like it. It's just normal. But these are just the small things. So people pleasing can happen on a micro level, which is like these small things. Going to a party even though you don't want to, agreeing even though you really want to say, no, I don't agree with this.
Mm-hmm.
Or it could be on the macro level. What about lifestyle choices, career choices? It's like some people end up in a career they don't want to because their parents thought it's a great idea or their parents already did it. And yeah, so it can have such an impact on your life and you might be blind to it.
Wow, that's really interesting. So my follow-up question to this comment would be, so when you're people pleasing, are you in this very moment connected to your inner core
No.
or no? Okay.
100% not. It's for me that's the element of it
Mm-hmm.
because like I said when you're being kind, it really comes from like that wish to be kind to that person. Like you feel that it like fulfills you, but when you're people pleasing,
Hmm.
it always causes a disconnect from your true self because your true self inside is shouting, no, no, I don't want this.
Yeah.
And you're still doing it. And over time, that voice gets really quiet, or you don't listen to it. It's shouting, but you're just ignoring it. It becomes a habit
Hmm.
to ignore yourself in a way.
Understood. And the next question is, all right, so there's a disconnection to the inner core. And what is the goal? Because you stay disconnected to your true self in order to do what?
In order to make others happy, or you
Ah,
think you make them happy.
mm-hmm,
Sometimes it also just keeps people in your life that are not meant for you.
mm-hmm,
If true self-expression actually means that those people don't like you, then they're not your friends. They're not meant to be in your life. And if your self-abandonment keeps them in your life, then
mm-hmm,
this can't be a true friendship. Or even in workplaces, work environment, maybe it's not the job for you if you feel like you constantly need to amend yourself. But what we believe people pleasing serves is to make others happy
mm-hmm.
or to be accepted, which is a very big one. We try to be accepted. Um, and we think we can only be accepted if we're not ourselves.
Ah, okay, wow. This is such an eye-opener. Makes it so much sense. Why do you think young women or girls in particular tend to always want to please everyone?
So when you look at little kids, boys and girls, they're fundamentally not that different in their
Mhm.
infancy. But what is usually very different is the parents' behavior. So with little boys, they'd be a bit more, go try the thing, you know, don't be like a coward or just go for it. Whereas with girls, they're more like, no, don't say this, be nice, no, be polite. A girl doesn't act this way. And with puberty and as the kids age, this gets worse. So then the boy cries and is like, why are you crying? Which is also not good. So I think both can lead to people pleasing, but girls are more encouraged to people please, way
Mhm.
more. And the boy might end up people pleasing as well by putting on an act of being this courageous, manly persona. Manly,
Yeah.
it's all just concepts rather than being himself.
Mhm.
And you see with girls, like when sometimes in groups, for me, it happened at least that when I was very direct and I spoke my truth, it was not very accepted, but it's due to conditioning.
Ah, okay. Thank you also that you put also the perspective of boys into it, because that's, I think, yeah, people pleasing is something both genders suffer from, but it's interesting to see like the differences
Hmm.
and how it also manifests. And this would lead me also to the next question, because I want to know how has people pleasing manifested itself in your everyday life, for example, in friendships, maybe also on social media or at work.
Everywhere. I was the ultimate people pleaser. It was bad. Um, I think it was due that I had gone through childhood bullying and I've gone through a lot of bad things. And then in my teens, I was like pretending to be a rebel, but I wasn't really speaking my truth. I was this rebellious person, but I was a rebel because it was cool. And
Mhm.
later on, I kind of started to adapt. I was wearing all pink, which was really not me.
Hmm.
I was like dressing according to fashion at the time in London. And I just started to really adapt to what everybody wanted, the makeup or the stuff I did. And I think even my lifestyle and life path choices have been ultimately determined by the need to please others.
Mhm.
Um, so I was really striving for recognition. I got a scholarship of excellence. I was like working so hard. I was working full time alongside uni. I was like, I'm this perfect, productive person in interaction. So that's the micro level. I'd not really speak my truth. So if somebody would say something and I'd not agree with it, I'd be quiet. Um,
Hmm.
and it really had such a bad effect on me because it was so thorough. It was like my whole life that I stopped being able to feel like what I want and who I
Hmm.
really am. So yeah,
Wow, thank you. And was there, because yeah, it really sounds that this was like a long process in your life. And was there a moment, maybe a waking up moment, a turning point where you said to yourself, this cannot go on like this anymore?
I had a mental breakdown. I had a
Mhm.
big, I basically went, I hope it's okay to say here, into depression. I got
Yeah.
very depressed and like I felt like I was just going through the motions. I felt like, what is the point of this day? You know, going to work, then going to this job. And even when I met friends for a coffee, it didn't feel like it fulfilled me. I had some good friends, it's not their fault, but I just couldn't be authentic. So I got to like a really bad state. It got so bad that I had to make the decision. How I can't continue like this. It literally got impossible. I
Yeah.
literally could not continue a single day like this anymore. But I didn't know what the problem was. I was like, the problem is with my depression. I'm just a depressed individual and everything's going wrong for me and I just don't enjoy life.
Hmm.
And then I kind of was like, I realized there's this small voice inside of me. Like it came to like a point where I had to decide. And I had that little voice that said, you know what? Do what you want to do for the rest of your life. And I did it. Yeah. And it was like, because I was like, what's the point of living if I can't do what I want? Well, why am I? It's just going through the motions. It's like somebody put a blueprint and I'm just like, and going through it. It wasn't my own life. So at that point, I made the decision and I was like,
Hmm.
okay, what I want. And that was still a process. So I'm not saying it's like the decision and then I know
Hmm.
exactly what I want.
That's interesting. So recognition as somehow the first step for the inner healing process. But as you mentioned, because of being conditioned for such a long time in so many different areas of life, because it's not just the family background or friends, but also society, work, advertisement, media, it can be difficult to recognize. But interesting, yeah, I really like it that you point out, okay, that this was like the breakdown and there also the healing could start. Yeah, let us maybe now have a look into the future and how you deal nowadays with certain things. So, how do you deal today with criticism? You mentioned already before, and also how do you deal with rejection,
Mhm,
especially
mhm,
as a person in the public eye? Yeah.
mhm. I could only get into the public eye because I'm comfortable with criticism. It
Hmm.
would have been very difficult, very energy consuming if I wasn't comfortable with potential criticism and rejection.
Hmm.
What I didn't mention earlier, like after acknowledging you're a people pleaser, you obviously need to take the leap and make the steps and
Yeah.
slowly start to widen your comfort zone and say no one time and
Hmm.
feel like what it feels like.
Yeah.
I went through this process for quite some time and then took off every single layer of the pleasing and realized, oh, I'm still pleasing in this way. Then again, stop pleasing, stop pleasing. Basically, my thing is people can reject me potentially, but I can't be rejected. I don't internalize their rejection or criticism. It's because I've built up my self-worth. I know
Hmm.
what I'm doing is good. I
Yeah.
know I'm doing it for a good cause. And also, I'm happy with what I'm doing and who I am now. Yeah, so it's like a self-worth thing. So even if somebody criticized me, it's not like I
Hmm.
don't care at all and like I'm just immune to everything. I might be like, okay, that stung a bit, but it's not like that I'm gonna take their word 100%. I've realized after I've like done all this unlayering. I think that's what I was trying to go with before. After doing all these, like going through the layers, I've realized that so many things people say and believe are just not the truth.
Hmm.
It's not the truth. So their opinion says more about them than it does about me.
Yeah, yeah. Wow.
Let's say you write the best book, but it's like a novel about romance. It could be the best book in the world about it. It could be bestseller. But if somebody doesn't like romance novels, they're gonna think it's shit.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah.
So it says more about them than it does about you.
Right. That's so interesting. So everyone is actually like a mirror, and what triggers you in the other person has more to do with you than with the other person, and also with the statements. What someone says to you reveals actually more about the person than about you. And yeah, I have another question because we spoke so much about the true inner self, the inner truth. So now in this process in which you are, because yeah, self-development is also ongoing, would you say that nowadays you can stick now more to your inner truth and you can be more your true self? And if yes, how does this show in your everyday life now?
My friendships have changed. So
Hmm.
I think because I was a people pleaser, I was attracting lots of narcissists. And this is not to say everybody's a narcissist and I'm the good one. This is not what I'm trying to say, but that's
Yeah.
just if you're a people pleaser, like an ultimate people pleaser who always people pleases, this is who you attract.
Hmm.
Um, and my friendships have changed. So now I have people that really value me for exactly who I am. I don't need to go out of my way to be nice and always say yes for them, for the friendship to persist, which was the case before.
Yes.
So once I started saying no, I lost these friendships. Once I started standing up for myself, they were like, "Oh, you're crazy.
Hmm.
How dare you do this? How dare you say no to me?" Um,
Yeah.
and now I got really good friendships. Like it's impressive. I'm so happy. I got the best friends. Um,
Nice. Yeah.
Also like in dating, I don't accept certain things. If I see certain red flags, I'm again not just bashing other people. This is not about saying everybody's evil, but if I see certain things and I don't like them, somebody
Hmm.
else could be like, "Oh, but that person is so sweet. Why don't you go for them?" If I don't like them, I don't like them. Whereas before, I might have tried to give people a chance that I really didn't want to give a chance.
Hmm.
That's the other thing. In my work life, I'm doing what I'm doing now with also going on social media.
Hmm.
And that's also completely transformed. It's just the energy with which I'm going to work.
Wow.
It's like I try to enjoy every day, and I enjoy every day, but also like I make every day enjoyable rather than just again going through the motions. So if I feel like something doesn't really
Hmm.
fit me, I don't do it. Like if I realize, for example, I don't like posting in a certain way, then I don't do it because like maybe on Instagram it's like hooks and getting people hooked on your content and stuff. And I think at the start you tend to try to do that. And then I
Hmm.
realized, no, I just want to be myself. Otherwise, what's the point again of talking about people pleasing on social media whilst I'm people pleasing on social media? It doesn't make sense. So it's entirely transformed everything. I can finally say that I'm content with how life is going. And if I'm not, I'll change it.
Yeah, right. The power is in your hands. So, what does a healthy approach to boundaries mean to you today? Because we started also in the beginning, the people pleasing is I'm saying yes, but I mean no. So, how do you learn to say no and still feel comfortable?
The more uncomfortable you feel about setting boundaries, the more uncomfortable the other person's going to feel.
Yeah.
If you say, actually, no, I don't want to do this. Nah, I'm not that interested. Like it's different than just like, no, I can't.
Out explaining, right?
And also like the energy you bring. It's like,
Oh,
no, I can't.
mhm.
But my friends respect that. If
Mhm.
I got a work environment now, they respect it.
Yeah.
Whereas before it wasn't like that. It's kind of like Allowing situations, like allowing the letting go of certain situations,
Mm-hmm.
basically being
Yeah.
comfortable with, oh, this person might not like this. But
Mm-hmm.
also, I think through the process, I've just also improved the boundary setting. Whereas before it's like erratic, you don't know how to set the boundary, you over explain, um, you're really nervous in the process. And now through practice, I can say confidently, I can also validate the other person, like, oh, it's really nice. You're
Mm.
saying this, but or you're inviting me, but it's a no from me. You know,
Nice.
yeah.
Yeah. You mentioned like the energy, yeah, the body is also involved. It's our words we speak, it's the body language, it's what we transport, yeah, and it was really feelable how you mentioned the no and was even in a very friendly way, and that's so nice. It's possible to say no in a friendly way, I learned now. So many of our readers are between 18 and 35 years old. And what would you say to someone of our readers and now our audience who is watching this interview? What would you say to someone who realizes I'm losing myself trying to be liked?
The younger you are, the harder it can be, right? Like,
Mm.
also like all your experiences are very new. You don't have as many reference experiences. So when you're already in your 30s, you've gone through a lot, there's
Yeah.
like, yeah, it's not as scary anymore. You've already experienced it a few times.
Hmm.
Um, I would say don't listen to everybody else. Don't take what everybody else says so seriously. Take it with a grain of salt because most people don't know what they're talking about.
Mm.
Somebody might tell you, what, your own business? Huh, no, that's gonna fail. That's
Yeah.
their world. Have they had a business? Most probably not. But they did. Then they come up with a story. This guy, he had a business and he failed, and it's their limitations. Don't let them put their limitations on you because your limitations are yours to set and find out. And usually, if you keep pushing through, you can achieve your goal. And not pushing through in a sense of like overworking, hustling, and stressing, but
Yeah.
like staying consistent.
Hmm. Nice. Let us go now back. So if you could give your former self, let's say you're 15, some honest advice about self-worth and people pleasing, what would you say?
Mhm. I'd say be yourself always, but that's very generic, and most people don't understand who they really are. So maybe I'd rephrase it and be like, that little voice inside of yourself, inside of you.
Hmm.
It's not just some crazy voice. This is you.
Hmm.
So listen to it when you hear it and
Yeah.
start saying no. And just, like I said, don't take everything other people say so seriously. They don't know what they're talking about most of the time.
Yeah.
And also, one thing, assimilate yourself with people that are at a place where you want to be.
Mhm.
Because if I want to learn how to be confident and my whole circle is not confident, or if I want to get rid of people pleasing tendencies,
Yeah.
and in our society, most of us are people pleasing, how can I get rid of this if nobody actually understands anything about it? They think they do, but they don't. So surround yourself with people that are at a place where you want to be,
Mhm.
because other people are just going to keep you a bit stuck.
Yeah. Yeah. This is very good advice. And what I'm sure about is we will learn from you so much more also in the future, because
Yes.
that's just our very first interview about people pleasing. I've learned so much. Thank you, really, from extra
No.
life. And I also feel like equipped for the day now. And
Oh,
I can
nice.
go, I guess I can go through the situations now really with a different point of view. And I believe also everyone who has watched this interview today is equipped, encouraged, and inspired. Thank you, Sandra, so much.
Mm,
And to everyone who's watching this now, we are planning to talk more about these topics of personal development, for example, about self-worth. We will speak in the future also about narcissism, and I guess also about the power of language, because today I learned that you're also aware of this concept that language shapes our reality we live in. You gave us so many examples. So, and also I guess we can speak about the topic, what is identity, what is healthy man and womanhood. You touched it very shortly. So yeah, we have many topics for the future, a way to go. So thank you for today. And I also wish you a great day and see you then next time.